We're just doing a quick video on how to swap the brushless motor in your supercar. So the most important thing is to make sure that the battery is unplugged. It is crucial that the battery is unplugged because you can short the wires out. So the battery's been unplugged, and we're going to remove this plate here. You will need an 8mm box end wrench, or you can use an 8mm socket, and we will be simply disconnecting the yellow, green, and blue. This is done by removing the nuts. Now, these may be in different places. Don't worry about that. We're only focused on the yellow, green, and blue wires. So I've loosened that one up, and I'm just going to show an example of disconnecting one of them for now. Okay, so this is disconnected. It goes back into the car to the motor. Then you have these two, you'll remove those as well. And then this connector will simply unplug. And I'll show you right here, we have that connector and these go to the new motor. So that'll be all you disconnect on this toy, aside from unplugging the battery. All right, we're gonna take this bottom plate off right here that covers up the motor, so we can go ahead and expose the motor to work on it. Okay, so we've taken, looks like 4 screws out right there. Now you can see the motor right here and the gearbox. Now you'll have access to start removing the motor. This is done by using a 5.5mm Allen wrench, and you simply turn this. Make sure you have a correct Allen wrench that fits in here so you do not strip it out, and take your time. This bolt will be removed, and then also this one right here. I'm going to go ahead and point to that, and then this one right here. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we've went ahead and removed this bolt on top, and then this bolt right here, and we've removed this bolt right here. You now need a bucket or box with a bag because there will be a slight amount of oil that comes out. I'm going to take a simple flour bucket and cut it into an oil pan. We're now going to place the car on its wheels. As you can see, we've already taken the 4 screws out for the seat cushions. This way we have access to the motor from the top. We've placed our catch pan right here underneath, and now we will remove this bolt right here and this bolt right here. We have now removed this bolt and this bolt. We have a total of 5 bolts. You'll notice that the motor is now loose from the gearbox. I'm going to try to get the motor off. This works by simply wiggling it, as it is a nice and tight fit. The motor is now removed. We'll next carefully get the wires out. Okay, now we're going to simply gently pull the wires through. You'll need help with somebody in the front if they get hung up to push them on through. Now, we have successfully removed the motor that's defective. We're going to set it aside, and we're going to to start by installing the new motor. Now we will go ahead and stab the motor back into the gearbox. This is quite simple. Take note, these two tabs that stick out will go like this. You rotate one down to the bottom and one down to the top. That way the bolt holes line up. Next, get your first bolt and thread it by hand. Do not use a wrench. Thread all bolts by hand to avoid stripping. We will now proceed to reinstall the 5 bolts. We will flip the vehicle up now. We have installed 2 of the top bolts. Now it's easier to access the bottom bolts from the bottom, obviously. Now take note when you remove the bolts of where they go back in, because they are different lengths. I have a long bolt that's longer than all the rest, 2 medium bolts and 2 short bolts. The longest bolt will go back in right here and simply be threaded in, one here, and then we'll put the final one in right here. Also, we'll mention that the motor we removed has a single wire that splits off with the 3 connectors and the white plug at the end. This particular one we put in happens to have 2 sets of wires, but it's still the same thing. You have a white connector and you have the 3 connectors at the end. So we'll feed it through here. We've already pre-removed the screws on this to make it easier. You could take this off if you have trouble getting to it. So I'm going to feed it through. Simply pull it through. Careful about the wires, unlike what I'm doing there. Feed it on through. And then go up, make sure you don't hit any of these brake cables, stay clear of those, and have a helper pull it on through under the hood. And then we will go ahead and reconnect the wires just as you disconnected them and test the new motor. Okay, now that you've pulled your wires through, it'll be yellow wire from your motor to your yellow wire in your control box. We'll do the green wire from the motor to the green wire from the control box, and then finally the blue. So blue to blue. Then we'll place the nuts back on like so, and we've already connected this to the control box. Once the connection is made, now is a good time to test it. So we'll test the vehicle. If everything works fine, we'll put the cover plate back on, set the control box back into its area and secure it, and secure all plates on the bottom of the vehicle, replace the seats, and enjoy.